Hello buddy, back again with another troy-bilt. This is a customer's I'm working on. This one is a troy-bilt snow thrower, 24-inch with a 7.5 horse briggs on this one. The complaint he had was that the mice chewed through the primer bulb line, which is this one right here. So all he did was he cut the end of it off and where it was chewed up and just reconnected it. And what he was saying is what he was having was that when he pushed the primer bulb, that he had fuel leaking out. So I was like, okay, I mean, no big deal. I'll check the line out, whatever. But usually, when you push the primer bulb, it pushes fuel up from the bowl into your throat of your carburetor. So what'll happen is that gives you your fuel right there. So when you turn it over, it'll start up quicker, So anyways, I took that off. I checked it over. It didn't look horrible. I did push the primer bulb. You get some fuel comes out. You'll have that on Tecumseh's, all of them, that I've ever dealt with. You push primer a good couple times, and if it's a good primer, it'll push the fuel up and out. But what I did find when I took it apart was I dumped most of it out already. But what I had happen was, I don't know if you can see this right here, there's a little bit of wet. It looks like fuel, like gasoline, but it is not, because you could touch it and it pulls up my finger like that, and see how it's slowly running. That's water, that's not gasoline. So I immediately saw that. You could see the difference between water and gasoline. So I took and drained all the fuel out, or not all the fuel, but I did take a bunch of cups out, and all I did was cut a tin can. And this one luckily does have a fuel shut off on it. If not, you just put a pair of vice grips on the line or a pair of needle nose pliers, whatever, pinch it off, let the fuel run into the can, and it was like a rusty color of like water. So I measured it all up. What I got out of there for water was equivalent to about half of a red Solo cup of water out of it. So that's quite a bit of water. So now called them, told them that what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to drain the fuel out. I got clean fuel coming out now. Shook the tank, see if I make sure I get anything else. I will dump a water remover in there, like a K100 or even dry gas in there, will help. So now I'm getting ready to pull the carburetor off, and this is a Briggs 7.5 horse. This here's your choke. This only has 2 bolts that hold this in. Back one there and one right there. We're just gonna pop this off. Just those 2 bolts, pop it off, and there it is. It comes off just like that. I'm gonna pop this plastic piece off. I'm gonna try to do this without wrecking any of the gaskets, because I always try to do that for the customers if I can. I usually can do it pretty good, is take all this apart without wrecking any of the gaskets. You can usually put it right back together. If they aren't, the right way to do it is get a complete gasket kit, but you don't have to. You can take them apart, clean them, and put them right back together the way they are, and I've never had too many issues. You can usually do that about once or twice, and then after that I'd recommend getting a new carburetor kit, or if you wreck one of the gaskets. So what we're going to do, this linkage right here is just a curved linkage, and by the looks of it, this spring right here is already off, and I didn't take that off, so that was never even hooked up to begin with. All you're gonna do is just curve the carburetor around, and you just pull it right off right there. So alright, back, just got that off. Just like I said, just popped right off there. It's nothing too hard. And if your spring was attached, which this one wasn't, you just pop that up out of the little hole right there. The little one without the plastic. Plastic's for the shaft, for the throttle linkage. But then, like I said, this right here, try to pull this plastic spacer off nice and easy without damaging the gasket, if you can. And yep, we got it right off. Doesn't look horrible, so we'll set that aside. and let's go to the workbench. Alrighty, we'll try to make this video a little short and sweet compared to my other ones. Because like I said, I don't do any video editing. I should, but I ain't got time for that stuff, nor do I have a computer to do that. So I just pause the camera when I can, and that's about it. So I'll try to keep this in the frame here for you, and we'll take this thing apart. Bring it down so you can see the light maybe. Yeah, a little bit better for you. Anywho, so we're just going to clean the outside off. Any like grass right here. There's a little bit of grass anywhere, anything out there, just clean it off. Usually with just a pick or a screwdriver, get most of it off out of the way. That way you just don't have you don't have to worry about it falling off and going into your carburetor when you have it all apart or you're putting it back together. Most of the time you can get pretty lucky and just do it and not have to worry about it. But being that we got the carburetor off, you could do this when it's on there. On the snowblower itself, you can just take the bowl off and clean it, but for me, I like taking it off, having it in my hands and cleaning the damn thing. So as you can see, hold the light over here for you. Tops of it now does look pretty clean just by wiping it off that little bit, so this one isn't that dirty. Now just going to take this bottom nut off, which is also your main jet, which is a 1/2 inch, I believe. Get a wrench here. Yep, 1/2 inch wrench. And we're just going to crack this thing free. I have something to catch the fuel, because it's going to come out as soon as you crack it. I don't know if you can already see that already. Get the light on it. It's got like a brownish color to it, dripping off there. What I want to do is I'm going to try to hold this off to one side so I can catch all the crap that's inside the bowl, so that way I could show you what was in there for water that was getting out of the fuel tank. So here's your main jet. Just got to set that out of the way. Just break that free, nice and easy. I'll set the carburetor side, and let's see what we got in here. Right there is old fuel already, and that's water. It gels up like that. I don't know if you can see this now, it's tipping out. But that's all water coming out the bottom of it. There's all the little bubbles in there, and see how that looks like little droplets coming off there? That's all water. So, good thing I decided to clean this out, because that's pretty yucky in there. So, like I said, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down, whatever. I don't care. I just put it out there for people that don't know how to do it, can do it and learn. If not, have some, yeah, look at that. Yeah, pull it right off there. Nasty stuff. I use carb and choke cleaner. This stuff I got from a lawn and garden store in town. So, but that's all the guy had was a complaint that, the mice chewed the fuel line. But good thing I checked it over and looked at it, because I would have brought it back to him and he would have been complaining. Wouldn't have been good for me. I had to listen to that, So, there we go. Nice clean now. Nothing in there. It's pretty clean to begin with, but I just cleaned all that crap out of there. So now I'm going to take this gasket off. If you can take it off without breaking it, that's good, because then you can reuse it. Like I said, this is your bowl nut, but also your main jet, allowing the fuel goes in through the bottom here. Let's see if I can bring it closer to you. Fuel goes in through the bottom here, and then it goes out the top, and it goes up through your main jet up in there, which is, this is also your main jet also, but in there you can reach up in there with a screwdriver and pop that one out and clean that also. So we're going to do that now. Wish I had more light in here. My light above my toolbox is not working. So, and this has got a number of 75 underneath it. But you can take and clean this all out with carb clean. I know some people that soak them, but usually this carburetor isn't too horrible. And like I showed in the video before, this is all this is just a, it's hard to see, but all this is just a wire brush bristle. I just pull one of the bristles out of my wire brush, and it gives you a nice little small piece of metal, sturdy enough to go through all these holes in here and clean them all out. You know, wiggle them around. You aren't going to hurt nothing, especially with these little metal bristle brushes. But if you hold it up to the light, you should be able to see light out of it. If you can't, blow through it with your mouth. A lot of people put shop air to them, but like in these carburetors, they have a Welch plug in them, and this one doesn't. But some of them do. You put air to them, you blow them out. Now you gotta try to find it, or most of the time you have to buy a new one, put them in there, because once you put them in there, you gotta tap them in with a punch to press them out. So, alright, I've got that one cleaned up. Now we're gonna pull the float pin, which is basically hanging out already. Get a pair of pliers so we can see here. Just want to grab a pair of pliers, just pull it straight out. There's your float pin. Just drop that down. And then here is your float, and then your needle valve. A lot of these newer ones I'm seeing are coming, like Briggs usually has them. They always have a rubber tip needle valve. So that way, because like in the Tecumsehs, they have a rubber plug down inside there, or a rubber seat, I should say, that the float sit there, that the float pin sits against, the needle float, and needle valve sits up against inside there, where these ones have a rubber tip on them, so they do the same thing, you know, where they press it up and seal off your fuel. So everything looked good there. I'm gonna leave that intact. Up in here is where you want to go with the, you can barely see it right there, but it's brass in there, copper, usually it's brass. We take that out, you want to unscrew that. You want to make sure you have the right size screwdriver to fit in there. If you don't have one, you have one that's a little too big, take it to the grinder, grind it down so it will fit in there, because you want to have a tight fit, because if not, you'll strip it and then you won't never get it out. So I'm going to find one of those. Alright. I got a, I'm just using, this is a this is a 7/32 screwdriver that I'm using. This one fit right down in there nice. We're going to unscrew it. Usually they don't unthread all the way. They only come out about this far. Just below, about right here, they come out too. You just tap them, and it comes right out. And there it is. And you just take and clean that up too. It's got a bunch of little orifices all the way around them. You see them right there a little bit at the top, right here. You want to take that wire brush bristle that you yanked out of like a wire brush, run them right through there, spray the carb clean to this thing too, clean it all out, get all that water out of there. I run carb cleaner through it first, blow it out. And then you want to hold it up to the light and you can look right through and try to see through all those holes. So we're all good here. That's clean. I'm going to put that down. Now there's all these little more holes here to go through and clean. Like you can run carb cleaner through your, where your fuel comes in, through your needle valve. Clean that up. You can run carb clean through that hole there. Make sure you run it all the way up through here, through your, where your jet was that you just took out. Run it through there. You're not going to hurt nothing. And then your air intake sides here, run them through there. Don't be afraid to run that long wire brush bristle through there too if you need to. And then, especially in the throat of the carburetor, there's 2 holes in there where usually fuel comes out on the side. Probably can't see it that great. Anyways, you want to make sure the carb cleaner is coming out of there too. And look at here, there's a piece of grass right there in the throat of the carburetor. So we're going to go through and clean that out and show you that a little bit. Try to hold my hand up out of the way here so you can see. Make sure you wear safety glasses. I've done this for quite a while now, that I know not to put my face in the way because I've got it in my eyes before. It does not feel great. Carb cleaner does not. So, like I said, you want to run it through all these orifices. Don't be afraid, you're not going to hurt nothing. And this right here is where the primer hooks to, the primer bulb, and all it's doing is pushing air in through the carburetor and forcing the fuel up into the throat of the carburetor. So that way it makes it easier starting. So you want to make sure you have all that stuff free and clear. Like I said, all these little ports. If you don't see fuel or the carburetor cleaner coming out the holes and coming out in a different spot, sometimes you have to follow it. Some of them might be plugged off. If not, run that wire brush down through them, that bristle, and where is it right here? You can force them right down through there. This bristle being flimsy as it is, just wiggle it around. A lot of times they'll go down through there, and just poke it through a couple times. Just make sure everything's free and clear. And then spray it again with some carb cleaner if you need to. But I'll finish that up and I'll come right back. Also, if you can avoid pulling these style gaskets out, the bowl gaskets out, because usually when you try to pull them out, you stretch them out and stuff like that. And also try to avoid getting too much carb cleaner on them. It will shrink them up. If not, sometimes it'll make them swell up a little bit. So if you can, try not to mess with it too much, especially if you're going to try to do it without buying a kit. So that's all I do. So now let's put this thing back together. You can see here, so right here. We're going to take our jet here again, drop it right down in. Your screwdriver, flat blade screwdriver. Just tighten it down until it's snug. Don't reef on it. Just turn it in with your fingers. That's all I'm doing, is just turn it in with my fingers till it's tight. And I'm just going to still grab onto the end of it. I'm not buckling onto it like this, but just on the end. Just put a little pressure and turn it in a little bit. That's all you need for it to tighten that down. You don't need a lot. This here is still left intact. And drop that right in. Your needle valve and your float. Then we're going to put our float pin in. Find a hole. Wiggle it around a little bit, you'll get it to go right in. And then what's good with these Briggs and Strattons, they're simple. You don't have to line your bowls up like Tecumseh's. Tecumseh's, you have a flat spot where they dish down a little bit. You have to make sure that's lined up with the back side of where your float pin goes in. Well, these Briggs, you can put them on anywhere, only if it has a drain in it, bottom of the bowl. Put that where you can make it accessible. So like, here's the front of it, you'd put it right here. But this one has a spot for it, but it's not drilled out. So you can put it anywhere you want with this one. This carburetor number is a 795485 is the number, and that's a Briggs number. That's what's up on the top right here. Then again, putting your bowl nut on, which is also one of your jets. Oh, get on there. There we go. you don't want to reef this thing down. Just a little wrench. Still you feel it getting tight, just give it a little snug. It doesn't need to be, you know, forced on there. And that's it. I don't have a camera tripod thing yet. To help hold this, so I'm gonna try to do this one-handed. So we're gonna take and put this into here. So, and the long part of it, the neck of it, you can see here. The neck of this goes into the carburetor. And there's your spacer. We're gonna put that right on like that. But first, what I'm gonna do is you're gonna hook up your linkage. So let's see if I can do this one-handed to show you. Usually it's easier with two hands. But yeah, I'll have to come back. There, we got it in, so now we're just gonna hook up that little spring into that hole. See if I can do this with you see. Right there. So, sorry for the long video. Fast forward through it, whatever. Do what you gotta do. Find the parts you want to see. You just want to take and... Where's this big thing being a pain in the ass? Come on. Get in there. Oh, what the heck? Oh, this thing. Dropped it. Anyways, that's the end of the video. Just want to show you how to clean the carburetor. Got the water out of it. This was just a simple one, water. I'm gonna run a new line for the primer bulb. Gas line's good. So that's it. That's all I want to do for the video. Sorry it takes so long. I don't edit my videos, so it is what it is. Like I said, give a like, thumbs up, thumb down, whatever. Subscribe if you're not. I do videos once in a while. I don't put videos up all the time, so have a good day.